guys, how's it going? It is Eve, and today we are going to be talking about some tips and little tricks that I use when it comes to finding the most perfect alliance for you, or for this rather, just for the video to show you how it's done for me. So this isn't taken into any account of what I'm actually planning on doing and finding my right alliance, but it'll show you the steps that I take to find the alliance I like. So first off, I come here onto Dolan, and it is a really good site. Other than the maps, it also has some other features that I like, most noticeably the Alliance tab up here. Here you have the list of every single possible alliance in EVE. Right now it's sorted by who owns the most outposts, so you can see that Legion of Death up here has 78 outposts, and then Solar Fleet and so on. So let's say we find our perfect alliance. I actually had to re-record this, so I'm probably just going to end up doing exactly what I did last time and use Solar Fleet as the example here. So here we have Solar Fleet's alliance page. So you can really learn a lot about an alliance just by looking at this page. You can tell the outposts it has, the sovereignty. Sovereignty is the amount of systems it has for all you new bros. You have the corporations, current corporation count, which is 22, and then the members of all the 22 corporations. It doesn't have a description. Most alliances don't, or if they do, it just doesn't like showing up. And here you have the outposts the 56 outposts that they own. And you can see it stretches from Cache all the way down to Wicked Creek. And here are its systems information. 132 systems. You can see exactly where they own. Innsmother, Outer Passage, and all that good stuff. Another way to take a look at the where an alliance would live is actually to go down to the EVE influence map right here. This is really a visual representation of where every single alliance currently lives. So we are looking at Solar Fleet here, and Solar Fleet's on our right side here. You can see right over here Solar Fleet, and Solar Fleet's down south also. So now let's say that we know relatively where they live. Let's see how to find ourselves a good corporation. We're just gonna back to Dolan here, and we're gonna hit the corporations tab. And here are the list of all the 22 corporations inside the alliance. So this is a Russian alliance, so just keep that in mind. I'm not actually Russian, so we'll just using them for the sake of the video. Former corporations, you can see every corporation that left the alliance or joined the alliance and where they went. Shadow of Solar here went to Solar Citizens and stuff like that. You can really see where they went and really what happened to them. So let's say that we want to join Ukraine here. Great little alliance. It's originally, I believe it's in Ukrainian or it's in Russian. I'm not 100% sure, but regardless of that, Chrome translates everything for me. So let's say we want to join Ukraine. First of all, you have the tax rate, which does play a pretty big role in nullsec space because your main form of income is bounties off of rats. I'll get into some more information on making money out in nullsec in another video and stuff like that. They have their website here, and really members, the CEO, the alliance they're in, their ticker. Ticker is really just a short form of their name, and that's really it. But here you have basically all the information about the corporation. You have their previous alliance history, which was at United Legion, then Solar Fleet. You have the rough information about the pilots in the corporation. I don't believe it shows. Yeah, I see here it's delayed still. It still says 98. However, if you go back to Dolan over here, it says 99, so it's a bit delayed. But you get the relative idea of who's in the corporation. Next up, you have their kills. So you can see, to an extent, of who their blues and reds are, and who they fight, and where they fight. Maybe it'll appeal to you, maybe it won't. You have their wars. I don't believe this tab works, but oh, they do. So you can see the wars that they have, well, had really. These last wars were from 2006 and 2009, so they haven't had wars since. But this is the corporation only war. They don't take into account the wars that the Alliance got into. Event statistics, we're gonna leave that. So let's go back on how to join this corporation. So joining a corporation, every single corporation is different. Some will require an API key. I'll go on in how to make those in another video. Well, most of them will. Some won't. Depends on really where you're trying to go. And they also have different requirements. Some will require that you have a certain amount of skill points. Some require that you can fly a certain kind of ship. And stuff like that. But for the most part, all the requirements that are the same is to be on TeamSpeak or Mumble. So keep that in mind. So welcome to Ukraine. The Ukraine Corporation. It was established in October 13, 2005. And it kind of just welcomes pilots to gain valuable experience in the game of EVE and have fun in a friendly company. And then, really, here are the requirements. This is the most important part that you need to look out when joining a corporation. Like I said, every corporation is different. Some will accept alpha clones right off the bat. Others, not so much. I know Pandemic Horde accepts alpha clones right off the bat, and so does Brave Newbies, or Brave for short. Not sure about any others, but oh, Karma Fleet also. And that's probably all I remember at the moment. So basically the requirements for this are to desire to develop their PvP skills, willingness and ability to work as a team, access to a stable network, which probably means a good internet connection. This is a little bit different. Now, I'm not trying to be a little picky here or anything about the Russian people or anything, but I know I've been out there to Eastern Europe and the internet connection can be a little bad at times, so you gotta be careful. But regardless of that, most people playing EVE have a pretty stable internet connection. We use TeamSpeak 3. Some alliances, for example, Goonswarm, will use Mumble. And then other corporations in Goonswarm will use TeamSpeak, so you will have both at times. And really comes down to that. You should have both installed on your computer at all times. Really, jumping between the two is really just a double click away. You don't need to talk on fleet comms if you join a corporation. It's nice to talk, hang out with the people, and stuff like that, but it's not required. Next up, it says here to be able to drive the interceptors, or fly interceptors is what it's trying to say. Interceptors in nullsec are a very big part. This is because the amount of gate camps and really warp disruption bubbles that get in the way of gates can just get in your way. Most interceptors are immune to warp disruption bubbles now, so you can just jump, oh, there's a bubble, and warp out, so it's really no big problem. And then, let's say that all appeals to me, and I have a check mark in every box up there in requirement. So the responsibilities of candidates are required to take an active part in the life of the corporation, military operations, so meaning PvP, or possibly even PvE to an extent. The intelligence, so intel of where fleets could be and what's coming down the pipe and stuff like that. Intelligence, I already said that. Communication, like I said, try to talk with your corporation. You don't need to talk on TeamSpeak. You can type away. That's perfectly fine too. And then fulfill the orders of commanders and senior management in the corporation. They don't really tell you, it's not like when you go to work, a boss will come to you and tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's not really like that. In EVE, it's really whatever you want to do the corporation as long as it benefits the entire collective. But if you want to rat, that's perfectly fine, because with the corporation tax up here at only 7.5, the corporation will take some of your money as tax and use that for ship replacement programs and really initiatives for the members. The higher the tax, the more money they take off, just like really normal real-world situations. My tip for really finding a corporation that has good tax rates is to look anything lower than 25%. That is, yes, 25% is saying a lot, but the amount of money you make in nullsec from ratting really balances it out at the very end. Alright, so now let's say, yes, I understand everything, and now how do I join this corporation? So we have to join their EVE Ukraine chat channel, and we need to register on their forums and leave an application. So, alright, let's say we have this corporation in our mind, but now, how, like, okay, I'm gonna join them, but what kind of system do they live in? Do I need to bring stuff and stuff like that? Yes, their systems are all different because we've seen before this corporation lives out in the drone lands on the right side of the map. So those are the drone lands and down a little bit into Angel space. But we're going to focus on the drone side of EVE. So they live in the drone lands. The outer passage is part of the drone lands. So we are going to go ahead and check the system out. Now, checking the system out is one thing, but getting to it is a whole different story. If you were to go out on the Tranquility server, good luck, to put it bluntly. Most of the time when you jump into nullsec, this first jump, or maybe even the first low-sec jump, or even high-sec jump, depending on where you are, you already be popping up on intel channels throughout the coalition. Meaning, oh, we have a rifter jumping in from system X into system Y. And really, then they'll, depending on what you're flying, they might come and chase you down. Most of the time, you'll probably run into a gate camp and die. And then you get halfway out there, you lost the ship, and now what? So the best thing to do is to actually go onto the Singularity test server. Though if you are a new bro to EVE, you might need to wait a little bit till the new mirror comes around, or you need to go to the forums and request access to it. Just go to the test forum section of the EVE Online forums and request access. And they usually get it within 24 to 48 hours to a week maximum, and you're in. The test server, I'll do a little video on the test server. I've been on it many times. Most of my videos are actually off the test server, so if you haven't seen those, you can check it out. So let's say we're on the test server. Let's actually do some magical video editing. And here we are on the test server. So before, we wanted to see where they live, right? So let's actually just jump back into Chrome. And here it is. The outpost they have is in the outer passage, which is the constellation. Sorry about that. And then here's the system name. Well, sorry, this is the constellation, which is in Knob HD. And here is the system name. UNV-3J. So we are just going to go ahead. We can click on it first and just kind of see a rough of what the video is. The system is. We can really see, oh, okay. Because you have the minerals, to an extent, not accurate, it even says here, but you have, okay, so there's some pretty good mining out here. That's some pretty good ore, and just okay. Relatively good ore, but I want to see this with my own eyes. So we're just going to go ahead, copy the system name, and go into the Singularity test server. Alright, so now that we are in the Singularity test server, we're just going to go ahead and set our destination to that system. I'm actually out already in the drone lands. I'm out in Paragon Falls. Wanted to check out a system on my own, so that's what I did, and then decided to make this video. So let's go ahead and set destination. So it's going to be about 16 jumps from where I am, so I'm not going to make you guys watch the 16 jumps, and I will get back to you once I am in the system. And so here we are out in the system of UNV-3J, which is currently owned by the Ukraine Corporation, just like Dolan told us. But this is the Singularity test server, so there are stuff missing. You don't have like the infrastructure hub, and really it's an unclaimed system. Really, this would be owned by Solar Fleet, and there would be a infrastructure hub here. But because we're on the Singularity test server, we will let that slide. So here we are, we're in the system, and it's really time to go check it out. Uh, Dolan is probably the best way to check out what planets the system has. You could check out on your inventory is overview here too. You have your Baron, another Baron, and then 3 gas planets. Not entirely the best for PI. You might have to go into adjacent systems in order to get some good planetary interaction going. But let's just say you're not into planetary interaction, so you can let that slide. Now, really, asteroid belts, the same way you'd really go mining, except we're gonna do this in a wolf. I believe this is a wolf. Yeah, no, it's a jaguar. So we're gonna go to the asteroid belt here and take a look at the asteroid belt. Nullsec asteroid belts are nothing like high-sec asteroid belts. They are so big, the good minerals, you can't see them. You need to actually come into your overview tab, and then you can see all the, here's like Crimson Arcanor, and you can see, oh, but because it's so small, you need to really zoom in on this rock. Because if I zoom out, you can't see it. These asteroid belts are huge and contain a lot of minerals, which are great if you want to do some really heavy-duty industrial things out here. Which is what you can do in Nullsec, should you want to. So, good asteroid belts. It's not really on a pipe here. You can really check it out on the map too. Let's go to Stars map here. Here we go. So you can see where the system is. It is on it's in a little bit of a pocket. Not necessarily a pocket, but it's a bit on the edge here. Not a bad location for it. One thing I do want to talk about is this like shield looking icon up here. This is more of your indexes for the system. A normal system on Tranquility will have strategic index at 5, and then most likely military at 5. Industry will not usually be around 5. Depends on really what's going on in the system. But you'll usually see it around 1, 2, maybe even 3 because of really what it does. And that's really it. Now that you've checked out the system, you know what it contains. You can see the planets yourself, the asteroid belt yourself. You can see exactly the minerals it has, if there's a station, there's no station, what the region's like. It's now up to you, and really your choice alone, whether you want to join the corporation or continue looking for another one. There's nothing wrong if this is not for you. You just have to keep looking, because you will find your home, you will have fun. I was in a corporation for the past 3 years, and it was probably one of the greatest corporations I've been in so far in EVE. There's probably much better ones, but for me right now, that corporation was absolutely the best. Great PvP, great ratting, great community, great really everything. The Alliance was also spectacular. You'll find a place like that too, eventually. So, that is really it for this video, guys. Hope it comes in handy. Hopefully you find the right place that you are meant to live in EVE. Until you find that place, fly dangerous. Peace.